Every now and then I like to do a little story from the past. So anyway, over 10 years ago, myself and one of my sons volunteered at a local animal shelter. And so we were regulars there for a couple of years. And we would go there together. And there were times when I wasn't available. So my ex-husband, who's the father of my children, would go to the animal shelter with our son when I wasn't available. So the staff there were familiar with us, plus I had adopted quite a few special needs cats from them, and I worked with special needs cats. So anyway, my ex-husband, without telling too much about him, was in the military, and he learned certain skills and was educated while in the military. But nothing too high level, but certainly not low level. But when he got out of the military, he got a really good job with the railroad and got more education and training. So you could say he had a high level job with the railroad. Won't say which railroad, just railroad, okay? And he was not a licensed electrician, but he was licensed in another type of license, but he could do an electrician's work, but he was not licensed, bonded, or insured. So anyway, the animal shelter, which we volunteered at, they needed, it was a good building, but it was an older building, but it was a good building. And every now and then they needed repairs, and they would try to keep costs down because it was all run on donations. And so the manager had realized that my ex-husband was capable of doing an electrical repair. She asked him, and he politely turned her down, and he said, "I am not a licensed electrician, and I think it wouldn't be fair to you or right if I did any kind of work on your building without me, being a licensed electrician. But if there's something else I can help you with, feel free to ask me." And when he told me about it after the fact, I said, yeah, it's a good thing you didn't do that, because I know, like with electrical, God forbid if there was a fire or something. Well, lo and behold, a month or two later, not even, the whole building burnt down. It was a big, horrible tragedy. Apparently, I guess they maybe got someone else to do it that was not licensed, bonded, and insured, and the work wasn't done properly. Who knows what happened? But the whole building got burnt down. No people were killed. I think a few cats got killed. Some cats got out and ran away, but they caught them. And then the rest were, like, I guess, in the building, but, like, people got them out, like, in cages. And they were temporarily rehomed, and they had to rebuild the shelter. And it was such a big to-do that I think some of the workers actually had like a nervous breakdown or needed like counseling after the fact, because it was so traumatic. It really was. And I'm sure it was traumatic for the animals. And it was just really upsetting to the community. So I've always said, don't have anyone touch your car or your house that is not licensed, bonded, or insured, because God forbid if something happens. The one time in my life I broke that rule, my friend June, who has since passed, was older than me, quite a bit older than me, and she had a boyfriend that was very shifty. And he was a retired painter who did painting jobs off the books. And the inside of my house needed to be painted. And June said, oh, Tom is really good at painting. I had met him a few times, and he was a BS artist. He said, oh, I used to paint for the Hiltons, blah, blah, blah. And so, he came up with a price and told me how many gallons of paint I needed to get, and blah, 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 blah. Well, the bottom line is he did a crappy job. He actually caused some damage. He smoked in my house, and he stole half the paint. He was not licensed, bonded, and insured, and I thought I was doing a favor for him and indirectly for my friend June. And afterwards, June felt really bad about it. I didn't press the issue because I didn't want to mess up my friendship with June. So, but the thing is I didn't save any money by getting someone under the tables. So, to protect yourself and your possessions, like your building and your car, always get someone licensed, bonded, and insured. And you as a person, if anyone ever asks you to do work that is not in your skill set, or it is in your skill set, but you are not licensed, bonded, and insured to do that job, don't do it. Because if anything goes wrong, even if it wasn't your fault, in the end, you get blamed. Everyone, have the day that you deserve. Bye.